Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into the world of mind-bending visuals with 5 optical illusions that will mess with your mind. These illusions are guaranteed to twist your brain in ways you didn't think possible, so make sure you stick around to the end, because I promise you'll be blown away. We're talking about things that look one way but are actually totally different. Your brain won't know what hit it. And hey, if you're new here, hit that subscribe button and join our amazing community of curious minds. Get ready to have your mind blown. All right, let's kick things off with our first illusion, the spinning dancer. Now, this one is a real classic. Take a look at this dancer. Which way is she spinning? Clockwise, counterclockwise, or maybe both? I'll give you 15 seconds to figure this one out. Really focus. What do you see? Is she spinning to the left or is it the right? It's amazing how our brains can perceive things so differently, right? Some people see it one way, some see it the other, and some people even see it switching directions. Keep watching her and see if you can make her switch directions. It's like magic, but it's all about how our brains interpret the image. Pretty cool, huh? 5 seconds left. Have you made up your mind? Are you seeing left, right, or both? This illusion always gets me, no matter how many times I see it. So, what did you see? Let me know in the comments down below. This illusion is a great example of how our brains can be tricked by simple images. But don't worry, we're just getting started. Next up, we have the impossible triangle, also known as the Penrose triangle. This fascinating shape has puzzled and intrigued people for decades. This one looks like a simple shape at first, but stare at it long enough and you'll realize something isn't quite right. Take a look. It seems straightforward, but there's a twist. Again, take 15 seconds and see if you can figure out what makes this triangle so impossible. Focus on the connections and the angles. Keep your eyes glued to the screen. Notice how your perception shifts as you try to make sense of it. Does it seem like the triangle is bending in ways it shouldn't? The more you look, the more it defies logic. How can something be connected like that? Each joint seems to defy the rules of geometry. It's like trying to fit a square peg in a round hole, but visually, our brains struggle to reconcile the impossible connections. This illusion plays with our understanding of perspective and depth. As you shift your viewpoint, the triangle seems to morph and change. It's like our brains are trying to make sense of something that just can't exist in 3 dimensions. The more you think about it, the more perplexing it becomes. But that's the beauty of optical illusions, isn't it? They challenge our perception and make us question reality. Time's running out. Can you feel your brain working overtime? It's a mental workout trying to decode this visual enigma. This one always makes me feel like I'm looking at a 4-dimensional object, even though I know that's not possible. Or is it? It sparks the imagination and makes us wonder about the limits of our perception. All right? Give yourself a pat on the back if you manage to wrap your head around that one. It's no small feat to grasp such a complex illusion. The impossible triangle is a classic example of how our brains try to find order in chaos, even when it leads to some pretty mind-bending results. It reminds us of the fascinating ways our minds work to interpret the world around us. Okay, moving on. Let's check out the cafe wall illusion. Now, at first glance, this might just look like a simple checkered pattern, but give it a moment. Something strange starts to happen. Take 15 seconds and watch closely. What's happening to those lines? Are they straight? Are they curved? Are they moving? This illusion is all about the way our brains perceive contrast and edges. The black and white squares create a sense of depth, even though the lines themselves are perfectly straight. It's like your eyes are playing tricks on you. Keep your eyes glued to the screen and let your brain melt a little. It's okay, we're all friends here. We're all on this mind-bending journey together. This illusion always reminds me of those old optical illusion posters you used to see in science classrooms. You know the ones where you stare at it for ages trying to find the hidden image? It's like a puzzle for your eyes. So, did you see the lines start to dance? The cafe wall illusion is a great example of how even the simplest patterns can create some pretty amazing optical effects. It's fascinating how our brains can be so easily tricked by just a few lines and colors. The illusion was first discovered by a British psychologist named Richard Gregory in the 1970s. He noticed it on the tiles of a cafe wall in Bristol, hence the name. Since then, it has intrigued scientists and illusion enthusiasts alike. It's a perfect example of how our visual system interprets the world around us. So next time you see a checkered pattern, take a closer look. You might just find yourself mesmerized by the dancing lines of the cafe wall illusion. And remember, sometimes the simplest things can be the most mind-bending. Now, let's talk about the checker shadow illusion. This one is all about light and shadow, and it's going to completely change the way you see color. Check out this image. Here's your 15-second challenge. Look at the squares labeled A and B. Would you believe me if I told you they're actually the same color? I know it sounds crazy, but trust me on this one. Our brains are so used to seeing shadows as indicators of depth and color that we automatically adjust our perception of the squares. Focus on the squares and try to block out the surrounding context. It might help to squint a little or even cover up part of the image with your hand. Can you start to see how the colors might actually be the same? This illusion is a powerful reminder that our brains are constantly making assumptions about the world around us based on our past experiences and expectations. Sometimes those assumptions can lead us astray. All right, time's up. Did you manage to see the truth? The checker shadow illusion is a classic example of how our brains can be fooled by context and expectation. It's fascinating to think about how our perception can be so easily manipulated by something as simple as a shadow. This illusion teaches us that what we see is not always what is real. Our brains are incredible at interpreting the world, but they can also be tricked. Next time you see an optical illusion, remember the checker shadow illusion and how it challenged your perception. It's a humbling reminder of the complexity of our visual system and the power of context in shaping our reality. Last but not least, we have the famous rotating snakes illusion. This one is a personal favorite because it's all about motion, except there isn't actually any. Check it out. Watch for 15 seconds and see if you can resist the urge to believe these snakes are moving. I'm warning you, it's harder than it looks. This illusion takes advantage of something called peripheral drift, where our brains interpret slight differences in contrast and color as movement, especially when we're not looking directly at the image. Try focusing on one point in the image and notice how the movement seems to slow down or even stop completely, but as soon as you let your eyes wander, the snakes come alive again. This illusion always makes me feel like I need to take a nap. It's like my brain is working overtime trying to process all the non-existent movement, but hey, that's half the fun, right? And there you have it. The rotating snakes illusion is a mind-bending example of how our brains can create movement from still images. And that's it for today's mind-bending journey. If these illusions twisted your brain as much as they did mine, make sure to give this video a thumbs up and share it with your friends. And hey, drop a comment below on which illusion was your favorite. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Don't forget to subscribe for more content like this and hit the bell so you're always the first to see what we're up to. Thanks for watching, and remember, things aren't always what they seem.